Greetings and welcome to Arcana Analysis, where we invite you into the Velvet Room to unlock the secrets of the Arcanum and the bonds they encompass. In this episode, we will be discussing the Strength Arcana. Strength is the 11th major arcana, following Fortune and preceding the Hanged Man. In Tarot, the Strength card represents inner strength rather than brute force or a solid physique. The strength in question is connected to will and spirit. It is determination, confidence, and courage, but it is also the wisdom and control to know when and how to act. This is a soft strength. It's why the Arcana is represented by a woman taming a lion. It's not a matter of overpowering the beast, but acting with undeniable will and purpose, calming even the wild heart. When the Strength Arcana appears in a reading, it is a call for you to trust mind over matter. You have the ability to achieve what you want, but you must overcome doubt and fear to reach it. You must be patient and collected, firm in the knowledge that your goals are within your power, even when the going gets tough. Strength is also the ability to bear and overcome hardship. When life faces us with trials, we must stand strong and enduring. In the wake of tragedy, we must find within ourselves the strength to rise again and fight another day. In the Persona series, the Strength Arcana is slightly muddled. Characters that fall under the Strength Arcana are often those who develop strong spirits and hearts. Though they are talented, within their stories each is faced with an emotional hardship that must be overcome. In the face of these tribulations, the holders of strength tend to face listlessness and a period in which they feel lost. However, they exemplify their arcana by overcoming their woes and unlocking new passions in the process. Additionally, bearers of the Strength Arcana show a great capacity for helping others. They are often proactive in providing assistance, and when called upon, they go all in their aid. The social links under the Strength Arcana match the card's original meaning. But where the series fumbles is in strength-aligned personas. Here the games tend to focus solely on the most face-value reading of the word strength, representing the card with legendary warriors who excel in physical attacks.
Within Persona 3, the Strength Arcana is held by Yuko Nishiwaki, a student at Gekkoukan High School and the manager of whichever sports team the protagonist chooses to join. She can be rather hot-headed at times, but Yuko is a considerate, responsible, well-meaning person with a knack for helping people. Despite how Yuko presents on the surface, she suffers from a lack of motivation in her studies, as well as self-confidence issues in regards to her appearance. She confides in the protagonist throughout her social link, though doesn't concern herself with resolving these issues, only acknowledging their existence. Things change rather quickly when the two students come across a group of children from Yuko's neighborhood who have been kicked out of a local park by some older kids. In order to regain access to their previous play space, the young ones must beat the older children in a foot race, a task that seems all but insurmountable until Yuko enters the equation. She offers to help train the children, using the facilities at Gekkoukan High and her experience as team manager to coordinate them. It takes some practice, but Yuko manages to help the children improve to the point where they can realistically take on the upperclassmen. While they don't win outright, the race ends in a tie, and the older children offer to share the park. Having seen these children succeed following their training, Yuko realizes that her true passion is helping others, specifically helping to train athletes. From here, she begins planning out her future for the first time, thanking the protagonist for his support. Ultimately, though, it was Yuko who discovered her passion on her own, a journey of self-reflection that allowed her to find her own inner strength and proceed accordingly. As a bearer of the Strength Arcana, Yuko's journey displays a growth that is not limited by literal physical strength, but a more nuanced one instead. By the end of the link, she emerges a more confident, motivated individual, no longer burdened by concerns over how she's perceived. Even by becoming romantically involved with the protagonist, she allows herself to ignore petty worries like her diet. She is simply content with who she is and what she has, looking forward instead of obsessing about the present. The Strength Arcana is held by another in Persona 3, the furry companion, Koromaru. This remarkably loyal dog is first found guarding a shrine on Tatsumi Port Island, protecting it from those who might deface it. This is to honor the memory of his previous owner, a monk that unfortunately passed 6 months prior. One night during the dark hour, a rogue shadow is detected outside of Tartarus, located at the shrine Koromaru protects. By the time Cease arrives to dispose of the shadow, they discover it has already been defeated by the Shiba Inu, whose remarkable courage and resolve allows him to wield his own persona. Koromaru is incredibly injured, however, so Mitsuru ensures that the dog receives the necessary treatment to heal his wounds. Upon his recovery, Koromaru is welcomed into SEAS, being given a specially made evoker in the shape of a collar. In Persona 3 Portable, Koromaru takes the place of Yuko Nishiwaki as the social link for the Strength Arcana. Within his link, we see Koromaru's hesitance with regards to accepting the members of SEAS as his new owners, often returning to his master's shrine on walks to ensure the location's safety. After seeing the protagonist aid in the protection of this sacred place, he lowers his guard and becomes more accepting of the group overall. While he will always view the monk as his master, the members of SEAS can now be considered his friends. Koromaru's persona, Cerberus, is depicted as a three-headed Doberman with pitchforks for feet. While there's no denying the creature's intimidating physique, the choice of dog breed is quite in line with both Koromaru and his Arcana. Dobermen are well known for their intelligence, strength, and loyalty, making them excellent guard dogs, not unlike Koromaru. Additionally, Cerberus is well known within myth as the guard dog of the underworld, preventing the dead from escaping. This mirrors Koromaru's self-appointed task of guarding his master's shrine and ensuring his soul can rest in peace. Another point of interest is Koromaru's lack of an ultimate persona. There is no stated reason for this within the game, and one could assume that as a dog, Koromaru doesn't have the capacity for an evolution in his persona. There is another theory that is much more relevant to strength as an arcana, however. It is quite possible that Cerberus is already Koromaru's ultimate persona, that he has already had the emotional growth necessary for such an evolution to occur. Koromaru is never unsure of himself or his actions within the game. He acts with purpose and has the necessary willpower to see his goals through to their end, making him an excellent bearer of the Strength Arcana and emotionally mature enough to have earned his ultimate persona. While certainly unorthodox, Koromaru does exude the traits held by the Strength Arcana. His unwavering resolve and willingness to put his life on the line to protect his master's shrine can both be considered exemplary characteristics in line with the Arcana. What Koromaru lacks in sheer physical strength, he more than makes up for through his inner strength.
In Persona 4, the strength social link belongs to Ko Ichijo and Daisuke Nagase, a pair the protagonist meets through club activities. While the social link will only follow one character based on what sport the protagonist picks, the link is still named fellow athletes and features interactions between a trio of characters. Should the player choose to join the basketball club, the story will focus on Ko Ichijo. Ko is an easygoing and agreeable young man who, upon first meeting, seems to have little on his mind besides winning games and hanging out at Aya. However, the player will quickly come to learn that Ko is burdened with a great deal of responsibility to his family, as the Ichijo house sticks to traditional heirs and expects their son to be a model aristocrat, even pressuring him to quit basketball, calling it barbaric. Furthermore, Ko is adopted. His parents couldn't produce an heir, so Ko was taken in to fill this role. While this makes Ko feel beholden to his family and their expectations, he can never seem to feel as though he properly fits there. The protagonist's understanding of the complicated family structure of House Ichijo gains depth when Ko reveals that 2 years ago, his adoptive parents successfully conceived a daughter. It is clear that this has left Ko anxious, and his fears are confirmed when he is suddenly told he will no longer bear his previous responsibilities to the house, such as attending special lessons and being part of family meetings. While Ko is free to do as he pleases now, he immediately realizes that he has lost his worth to the Ichijo house. His reason for being adopted in the first place has vanished. Despondent and lost, Ko visits the orphanage where he grew up, and is given a letter stating that his parents died of illness long ago. The letter is quickly revealed to be a fake, but its effect is immediate. It's confirmed for Ko that he has no roots. He can find no place for himself in the present nor the past. He has no identity and no reason for existing. Unsure of how they can help, the protagonist and Daisuke organize a basketball game and force him to play. Even though they lose, Ko gains a glimmer of insight from the experience. He has an identity outside of his birth or adoptive family, connections that don't depend on blood or responsibility. Ko is wanted and loved, not only by his friends, but by the family that took him in. He already knows who he is, and he can determine the parts of himself that he wants to nurture. Ko chooses not only to continue with basketball, but also to become a model Ichijo who his sister can look up to. Ko's conflict is a quiet yet intense struggle that is hard to comprehend or aid from the outside. It is a deeply personal dilemma, a battle for identity and purpose beyond blood and obligation. Ko's life changes quite a bit. The scant foundation he had is broken, but he finds within himself the determination to accept the changes, move forward, and become the architect of his own personhood. The athlete the protagonist meets if they choose the soccer club is Daisuke Nagase, a charismatic and hardworking second year. While Daisuke is a hit with the ladies, the man himself takes very little interest in them, showing either complete apathy or mild disgust to their vies for his attention. While Daisuke starts out as exceptionally kind and understanding to his peers and a model athlete who gives 110%, throughout the link, we see Daisuke begin to lose that energy and interest in the things he enjoys, and the protagonist and Ko are put at a loss for what's bothering him. Even his team begins to turn on him, singling him out and treating him with aggression as his performance plummets. In an attempt to cheer him up, Ko arranges a group date for the three of them, but upon revealing why he and the protagonist had called him out, Daisuke is furious and scoffs at the concept of getting a girlfriend. Ko reveals that Daisuke had been in a relationship with a girl in middle school, but the two had never done so much as hold hands, and when the girl had dumped him, Daisuke had declared that he never had feelings for her in the first place. While all this seems to be a thick layer of queer coding to his character, the social link instead wraps with the idea that Daisuke had actually been extremely in love with his ex the whole time and needed to learn how to express his emotions. Much like Ko, Daisuke finds himself facing off with an internal blockade. He is a man that fits an idealized masculine role, and the vulnerability inherent to expressing sincere emotions may not have been a trait that was encouraged in him. The inability to do so leaves him living half a life, and it's only through embracing himself and finding the courage to understand and make his feelings known to the world that he can find reprise.
Like its predecessor, Persona 5's Strength Arcana is held by two individuals, the twins Caroline and Justine. Together they are Persona 5's Velvet Room attendants, acting as the wardens of the jail the protagonist finds himself in. Caroline, the twin with the hair buns, tends to act more aggressively towards the protagonist, whereas Justine, the twin with the long braid, has a more calm and soft-spoken nature. Together they can be read as the two figures in the Strength card. Caroline, the ferocious lion, and Justine, the calm presence that tames it. Their role, as with all Velvet Room attendants, is to help facilitate the fusion of personas. As wardens, their methods often involve gruesome death penalties, such as fusion by guillotine or electric chair. Within their social link, the twins attempt to rehabilitate the protagonist through several fusion requests. However, as the link progresses, the two attendants begin to question the work they've been tasked with, unsure of who initially devised these requests and why they are being assaulted with memories of a forgotten time. Still, they press onward, rewarding the protagonist with new abilities as he completes the requested fusions. By the end of the link, not only has their inmate become rehabilitated, but Caroline and Justine also show a great deal of growth as well. Justine becomes more outspoken, while Caroline's demeanor calms and she becomes more open with regards to her emotions. Effectively, each twin gains a bit of the other's personality, evening out from their earlier extremes. This is no accident either. In reality, the twins Caroline and Justine are not two individuals, but rather two halves of one person. Lavenza, the true Velvet Room attendant, was split in half by Yaldabaoth after he usurped Igor. By fracturing Lavenza's consciousness, the attendant would forget her origins and take orders from the false Igor without question. The memories the twins receive, as well as their growth throughout their confidant, allows the twins enough clarity to see past this charade and fuse into Lavenza once more. The attendant frees the protagonist and realizes that her true purpose is not to punish humanity, but rather to help guide it towards a brighter future. As representatives of the Strength Arcana, Caroline and Justine are a rather interesting case. The work they do within this social link can be read as an attempt to quite literally strengthen the protagonist through the use of his personas, and their placement as a secret super boss within the game also exudes a very literal strength. While on the surface, they show no journey towards enhancing their courage or willpower, they still face deep-seated emotional turmoil that is familiar to all holders of the Strength Arcana. They find themselves facing off with an inner struggle that shakes their foundations and challenges them to make the eventually courageous decision to follow their instincts and fuse together again. One can also read into Lavenza's plight and her quiet revolution. Even after being split into several parts, the twin wardens and the bright blue butterfly seen by the protagonist throughout the game, Lavenza continues working in secret to guide the wildcard towards the truth. While this quest does take a good deal of time, she does not waver, simply pressing forward and hoping her two halves may put the pieces together and stand up to Yaldabaoth. Much like the imagery used on the strength card itself, Lavenza stands unwavering in the face of uncertainty, calming the lion instead of facing it head-on.
That concludes our examination of the Strength Arcana. Strength is not always an easy arcana to bear, as it means one will certainly face hardships that target the core of their being. That said, on the other side of turmoil, holders of the Strength Arcana find themselves happier and more passionate people.
They are more than enough to meet the challenges thrown their way, and they prove themselves to be steadfast individuals who will always lend a helping hand to others. We hope you've enjoyed your stay with us in the Velvet Room, and we look forward to seeing you again. Until then, we bid you adieu.